And I can't find a seconder usually when I propose this, but I don't care. I don't need a seconder. My own opinion is enough for me, and I claim the right to have it defended against any consensus, any majority, anywhere, any place, any time. And anyone who disagrees with this can pick a number, get online, and kiss my ass.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. I'm Harry Still, Backwoods Southern lawyer. Got my partner in crime in studio today. How are you, Mr. Rip?
Pretty good with the Rip Report, Baldwin County Legal Eagle.
All right, so I have
Super Bowl weekend.
I have a little video for us to watch real quick. Is that cool with you?
Just watching CNN or Fox News, I may not find the truth. And so what I did is I started looking up things on the internet, asking questions like most people do every day. Use Google. And I stumbled across something, and this is at the end of 2017, called QAnon. Well, these posts were mainly about this Russian collusion information. A lot of it was some of what I would see on the news at night, and I got very interested in it.
There's some movie where some guy's walking along and he finds a cable buried on the beach. You know, he picks it up and he starts following the cable along. I mean, do you really buy this bunch of bullshit?
So I posted about it on Facebook. I read about it. I talked about it. I asked questions about it. And then more information came from it. But you see, here's the problem. Throughout 2018, because I was upset about things and didn't trust the government really, because the people here weren't doing the things that I thought they should be doing for us, the things that I just told you I cared about. And I want you to know, a lot of Americans don't trust our government. And
let's skip to the end.
I wouldn't be standing here today and you couldn't point a finger and accuse me of anything wrong.
You're off the committees, girl.
Wow.
Off the committees. And the Republicans didn't do it. They forced the Democrats to do it. I don't know where independents stood on that one.
Well, let's move into some, did you watch 60 Minutes this week?
I did. I found that very, very interesting.
So
the Chinese and the procurement of all your health information, individuals, which they're supposed to have a database now in the billions already.
So risk and reward of at-home genealogy testing. So here's the business model and its genius. Once we have your genetic profile, we're going to sell it to a third party for $1,000 a lick. And people are going to pay us $200 to do the test.
Right. And that third party may even sell it again.
and you know, this is what you get. They say, well, you know, based on your genetic profile, this is where your people came from, which we all came from here. And then we went there, and then we went across the ice bridge to here. And then we all got reunited in 1492. Well, we all know that story.
So European.
The fact that everyone, that all of these people were duped into turning over their genetic information, I think is a scoop. And 60 Minutes is once again on top of the game.
Well, it also was a, God, I hope I get this right, was a Chinese company that was doing blood testing and some other types of things for communities. And that was going into the database. That was another way of securing the same data. So they were accumulating it by several different means.
So this is today. I pulled this off their website, and you see down here, you can help. Do you know someone who's been hospitalized with COVID-19? They may be eligible to participate in our study to help scientists search for genetic links to the disease and potentially help fight it. Yeah.
I really don't have much faith in any data on a computer being safe anymore, to tell you the truth.
Okay, so we talked about 3 branches of government. We talked about how the legislature is supposed to be in charge of the money, and the president is supposed, as the executive implies, they are to execute the will of the Congress, right?
Right.
And then we have the Supreme Court, who kind of plays yes, legislature, you passed this law, but it's in violation of the Constitution. Therefore, we're not going to let you enforce it. So the SEC vows to punish abusive activity amongst GameStop. I was hoping Raines would be here to give us an update on that. The House did vote, as you said, to remove Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from committee assignments, with 11 Republicans joining Democrats to support the measure.
And the Republicans should have done that. They should not have allowed, they should be cleaning their own house.
Okay, so Joe Scarborough is screaming and throwing stuff this morning on Morning Joe, saying we don't buy it. You know, look at all the things that other people have said, and whatever. What he's missing is, if the Republicans ever take over again, which surely they will, they're going to be able to dictate. The majority party is going to be able to dictate party committees, committee assignments. That doesn't sound right.
Well, not only that, but I don't know, you got more faith in the Republican Party coming together than I do. It's splitting as we speak. And then you have tens of thousands that are jumping the Republican Party and going to independent party. So, you know, you might be splitting the pie 4 different ways.
Okay, so this is just what came up on my YouTube feed on my phone, okay?
Yeah.
And so you have Louder with Crowder making fun of AOC, saying that she lied about her experience there. You know, she was not in the Capitol building. She's across the damn street. And when she said somebody came around beating on doors, calling her name, it turns out it was Capitol police officers making sure everybody was secure in their office.
Yeah, but they were listening to what was happening at the Capitol.
I understand, but she was across the street, and she did an 1.5 hour long interview with the New York Times telling them how traumatic it was. At the same time, on the other side of the spectrum, you have Stephen Colbert making fun of the My Pillow guy.
Oh yeah. All right.
Right. I mean, it's just divisive, and everything's so divisive.
And what's the Green followed the Parkland student. What's the young man's name?
Oh, the one that's going to create a My Pillow company.
Yeah, and it's all it's going to be a competition with My Pillow Man. So we have a pillow fight going, people.
So, pillow fight.
Pillow fight.
And then, of course, this is all in response to the Vile, as Raines calls them, showing up and rioting at the Capitol. And so we'll get into a little bit more about the repercussions from that. But the president has been impeached by the House. The Senate has been sworn in as jurors. They're saying they don't have the votes before they even hear the evidence, which, you know, that they asked the president to come testify.
Right. Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
No.
That's not going to happen at all.
And so that's going to kick off on Tuesday.
I think so.
Yeah. So Tuesday we'll be watching that. Of course, you know, a lot of things have happened, a lot of executive orders coming down. Federal judge blocks the temporary moratorium. So do you know how much it costs to get 26,000 National Guard troops to DC? $500 million.
I wouldn't doubt it.
We still got all of our coalition of the Confederacy of dunces, as they were.
And remember, that's the same people that now we're going to try to help us build a bridge.
Right. We'll get to the bridge.
Yeah.
Of course, we talked about the Turner Diaries and the QAnon, and not even Marjorie Taylor Greene believes in QAnon anymore, even though she tweeted just right before she went up to the podium to say she didn't believe in it. And she said something about the pedo Dems are trying to kick me out of my, you know, the whole QAnon conspiracy theory.
I like the other one about the forest fires in California caused by lasers.
The space laser?
Yeah.
Shit, everybody knows that's what causes them. Not PNC, what is it? Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E.
Right. They've said,
and their damn lines fall. You know, the wind causes the lines to fall, and that sparks forest fire, which is why they killed the power to half the people. So the cabinet picks, everybody has strolled through these things. I haven't seen anybody.
I hadn't seen anybody with a hiccup yet.
Even North Carolina environmental regulator Michael Reagan, the new EPA administrator.
And I don't know how many were acting positions. Do you?
I don't. I know Buttigieg got.
No, I mean prior to these appointments, there was a lot of these, were temporary.
They'd never been confirmed by the
they've
Senate.
never been confirmed. All these people are going to be confirmed.
Okay, so let's talk about Lloyd Austin. Have you heard about this?
Oh yes, I didn't know. Yes, I did. I was reading about this, and
so it's an all volunteer force. It's made up of people from across the country. And so if you have a rebel flag tattoo, are they going to kick you out? Or are they going to go through your social media? Or are they going to interrogate you and hook you up to a lie detector? I mean, you don't have any rights when you're in the military. Very few.
I don't know. To me, unless things have changed, when I was in the military, I can tell you right now, you were told from day one, as soon as you hit your boots on the ground when you got to boot camp, that there was no such thing as prejudice or color or anything else, and that you had to act in a certain way and pledge allegiance, and that was it. So, and anybody that broke ranks with that, like advocating discrimination or something, man, they were gone immediately. I mean, zip. There was no tolerance whatsoever. So I don't know how big a problem that actually is. You might find one particular branch that has a problem, but I don't think you'll find it throughout all the branches at all, particularly Marine Corps.
Okay, so
456, Harry. We started at 60 when we didn't think it'd go to 100.
26,700,000 infected in the U.S. with 456,295 deaths.
Still, people believe it's a hoax. I hope a lot less than 6 months ago.
Vaccine eligibility will expand February 8th and will include 65 and over and this new group of workers: correction workers, postal workers, manufacturing workers, grocery store workers, public transit workers, educators, food and agriculture workers, judicial workers, and childcare workers. So guess who's a judicial worker?
What about prisoners?
Don't know.
That'd be interesting.
Don't say. So the governor extended the mask mandate again. 88 points.
To when?
I'm sorry.
When is it?
March 8th, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And so 88.6 million payments per year for 30 years for 3 private correctional facilities. You familiar with that?
Right. We got 2 or 3 articles in Lanyap this week on that. One real good one there by Gabe Times we'll go over in a minute.
All right. So globally, 105 million cases with 2.3 million deaths. That was as of 11:30 this morning. Alabama, 470,000 cases with 8,500 deaths. Our vaccination administration is catching up. We're still less than 50% of doses that have been delivered have been administered.
I think things are going to change quite a bit in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the legislative session. Bill aims to provide crisis intervention training for law enforcement. We talked about this a few weeks ago, the fact that A-Post has not been teaching this, and we found that out through the federal response to the Jonathan Victor case.
Correct. Spend a lot of money on weapons that can kill people, not enough money on weapons that are non-lethal.
So the $1.9 trillion relief package is slowly making its way through the Congress right now.
And if you are totally opposed to this stimulus plan, send that check back in protest.
So how in the world can the governor of Alabama sign a lease that obligates us to hundreds of millions of dollars. Sorry,
I was
billions
going
of
to say,
dollars.
billions.
80. So the cap is 88.6 million per year in lease payments. That's the only thing she knew was how much money she could possibly spend. All right, Paul, read the RIP report for us, would you?
All right. RIP report today, January 5th, is Super Bowl 55, the 55th Super Bowl and the 51st Modern Era National Football League Championship game will be decided the league champion for the 2020 NFL season. The American Football Conference champion Kansas City Chiefs will play the National Football Conference champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Football and politics, and politics always compete.
I'm a Brady hater, for the record.
Well, football and politics always compete for the attention of the citizens of the United States. This weekend's going to be no exception. The Super Bowl will probably have more viewers than voters in the 2020 presidential election. The Super Bowl is a needed relief from the strain of COVID and politics. Our heads are busting with the contested election and the COVID hoax that has claimed 456,000 American lives. We stand divided. Two sides diabolically disagree with each other so much that we witnessed live on TV insurrection on the soul of our democracy, our nation's capital. Rebellion, uprising, or insurrection is a refusal of obedience or order. It refers to the open resistance against the orders of an established authority. The presidential election and Super Bowl 55 have a lot of similarities. Both have two sides, parties or teams, Republicans and Democrats. Both have millions of fans or voters. Both have captains, the senators and representatives. Both have billions of dollars at stake and use TV as their forum, witness, and record.
They used to use Twitter.
Yeah, well, TV to this Sunday. Football fans are far more civil than politicians. And maybe, a big maybe, the voters and politicians can learn from fans watching a game supervised by umpires enforcing the rules. Pay attention to the first few minutes after the game. No matter who wins the game, the captain of the losing team will not leave the field until he shakes the hand of his opponent. Players from both sides will congratulate each other and accept their bruises as part of the game. The fans will not cause an insurrection, riot, or contest the game's final score. Sure, there's going to be exceptions. However, that will not rise to the level of insurrection, violence, or the loss of life. The fans are not going to try and hang the umpires or contest the outcome of the game they witnessed. How can the same millions of fans or voters watch a football game and accept the outcome of a glorious battle between two of the best football teams and not accept 50 states certifying the presidential election? And another question you should ask yourself is, what are you teaching your children? Sportsmanship or insurrection? Enjoy the game. May the best team win and the losing team be gracious. That's the RIP report for this week. Next week on the RIP report, I can assure you in Fairhope especially, there is so much going on that I have 2 pages of yellow pages, everything from the airport to canceling possibly garbage service to the schools going independent to 500 apartments, the airport authority, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be no lack of news, plus all the complaints about the way the pier looks in Fairhope right now since Sally has not been repaired.
I wish I had some Sanford and Son music pre-recorded to throw in right there.
That'd be good. You know, pick that up next time.
Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about our sewer problem down here in Baldwin County, okay?
Which we mention a lot because we want people to remember what we're talking about. Harry and I can't change anything, but
it's the number one
as a
consumer protection issue
in the county.
So in Shelby County, where people have been raising hell just like we've been raising down here, they actually have legislators who proposed a bill that would allow for the regulation of private sewer in Shelby County by the Public Service Commission, right?
And maybe if it was regulated, you wouldn't have got the notice you got, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, our bill's going up $44 a month where we're living here,
Baldwin County Sewer.
Baldwin County Sewer Service.
And
so
they can raise your rate at will.
at the you familiar with the intersection of 181 and 104, right, Paul?
That's going to be the new location for the new clinic, right? The new
Well, the
hospital.
southeastern quadrant here
Right.
will be.
Right.
Now, I was tooling along, going towards Fairhope from Robertsdale, and took a couple pictures. There's the site of the MAP campus for USA's new hospital,
Right.
and you see the gas station across the way. Check out that force main. Guess who's putting that in?
Baldwin County Sewer.
Indeed. So, an issue that we need to stay on top of. There's several Lagniappe articles that you need to check out. Some that we've already talked to several times, including the shooting death of Jonathan Victor. The Baldwin County Major Crimes Unit investigated themselves in that matter. I still don't understand how every other state they call in the ABI
Or an
or the
outside agency
GBI
or
or
somebody.
the Florida
Right. Right.
or the Texas Rangers. But we're the only county that investigates
Well,
ourselves.
I think that a lot of these issues are going to really raise to the surface even more in the coming months, because the Jonathan Victor case has ended up in federal court, and you just can't hide behind immunity in all cases. No way.
Heard about this? House Bill 17.
Oh, this reminds me of the camera one, you know.
Of a bunch of
retards I wouldn't trust
gun.
with a potato gun. And so now,
Listen to this, people. Listen to what. Read it,
Okay.
Harry.
Alabama police seek new tool in war on drugs, wiretapping. So as of right now, the DEA or FBI has to go to a federal judge and get a federal warrant on probable cause to get a wiretapping warrant. House Bill 17 would create a new program for local police in Alabama to tap someone's call and online communications without involving federal law enforcement. If a local judge finds probable cause, that means Haim Schnedeker or Marcus McDowell, or just keep working with me here.
Yeah,
Who's in
any of them.
Who's in Robertsdale and Orange Beach?
Oh,
That's
Judge
Buddy
Bracken.
Bracken.
Judge Bracken, boy, that'd be a
Um,
good one.
So, and then I don't know who the judge is of record now in Spanish Fort. They had a death, but practicing attorneys who sit as municipal judges would be able to issue wiretapping warrants.
And probable cause. What is probable cause?
In Alabama?
Has
knows?
committing, maybe going to commit. That's all you have to do to get a wiretapping warrant.
So House Bill 6 would establish procedures for whether and to whom what portions of a recording made by law enforcement may be disclosed or a copy released. We covered that one pretty good.
Right. You're
Basically,
paying for the cameras, but you can't see what they say or what you see.
And so then when Raines contacted the sponsors of the bill and said, well, how come there's nothing in here about the press? They said, oh, hell, we just forgot about them. Not likely. I wish I had where I could merge Boss Hog and Roscoe's pictures together so that we could see what they look like as a composite. I have a pretty good idea. This bill, House Bill 13, includes law enforcement under the hate crime statute in Alabama. Now, you understand we have surrendered violence to the police in our civil and criminal justice systems, right?
I guess.
So if you stole my couch,
Right.
instead of me coming over to your house and beating the shit out of you or or slashing your tires to my satisfaction that I've got
Right.
$400 out of you for my couch. I don't do that. I call the police department,
They do it.
or I sue you civilly, and then they come to your house and get my couch back.
Yeah.
Law enforcement does. They're the ones that enforce proper orders of the court, right?
Right.
So now we're saying we're going to, include them in this hate crime statute. So want to point everybody to this Facebook page again. There's a lot of good information about the case. Lanyap this time had a very good flight of articles. Have you heard anything else about the Fairhope band director who was arrested?
Nothing except that among a lot of students that they knew a lot about him, and he'd never caused any problems there at the school. And a lot of them looked up to him, quite disappointed in it, but you never know.
So there was a fella who used to work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture here for rural development, and he and I were scoutmasters together. Had nothing to do with any kind of kitty diddling or anything, you understand? But he was one of the nicest people and helpful, and everybody that had to deal with rural development to get their, water lines built and water towers.
Right.
One of the most trusted people in the federal government. Well, guess what? Somebody just stole like $9 million. And I'd have given him a bar of gold and said, hey, man, keep this for me. And 10 years from now, I'm going to come get it from you. And I would have believed in my heart that guy, he was one of the most trustworthy people. And I usually have a pretty good tuning fork about it, but you never know. All I'm trying to say is you never know.
No, in fact, I think another Lanyap article, it was something in reference to just what you're talking about. Somebody that was real trusted in the company, stole all the money.
Oh, yeah, that was
what was that?
That's a federal case. Yeah.
Right.
So, the Eastern Shore MPO, which is headed by your favorite person,
Jack Burrell, the negotiator,
the great negotiator, they have initiated a new Mobile Bridge, River, and Bayway effort.
Now, this will be the third one. The first one was Mr. Ziegler and 55,000 people. 55,000 people
On
his
Facebook.
followers, Facebook and everything. Got that one knocked out. And then I think Mr. Burrell and some people came up with one on a napkin in a restaurant. That one didn't go too well. And so now we're here with the third one. Here's the thing that gets me, Harry. There's no way this bridge is going to get built without federal help, right?
No.
So at one point, we have our entire Alabama delegation, with the exception of one person, Sewell, right?
Right.
Sticking their finger in the eye of Washington any way they can in the new administration. And on the other hand, they got their hand out because they're going to want to build this bridge. Well,
and Space Command and incentives for
right.
the new Apple car plant.
What incentive does anybody have with working with Alabama if they're working against you? And that's the thing. There has to be a compromise. And I think that's what drove me to being an independent. You got to compromise.
So
here,
Baldwin County public school system is going to have 3 groundbreakings in one day, February 17th. Stonebridge Elementary, the new 9th grade academy, and the new addition at, what is that, the middle school over there?
I think.
North of 64. Anyway, we're growing like a weed.
Well,
there's no regulation of sewer, and we live in the county. Did you know that our planning director resigned a few months ago?
Right.
And so how many people with a planning degree work for Baldwin County right now?
Don't know.
Now, you can't count the county administrator.
Right.
Because he's busy doing other things. One planner, one person with a planning degree working in Baldwin County right now.
And the school system, you can look for Fairhope to push the school system for an independent school system. And the amount of apartments that are coming in and housing is going to strain the school system to the point that is going to be the excuse to go independent. So think about this. They're going to overdevelop it, and then they're going to use the overdevelopment for an excuse to additionally tax you by another layer of government by going independent with a school thing. And Fairhope has done this 3 times, never garnered any more than 35% support. I predict that if Fairhope does it this time with the people that are in there, it will pass.
So you got to remember, I've lived other places. I was the community development director for the city of Alabaster for 7 years. When I got there, they were building 700 houses a year. I ratcheted that down to about 300. So there was no way that 5 inspectors were looking at everything that they should have if we're building 700 houses a year and I got a staff of 5 inspectors. No possible way, right? So
Right.
how are they inspecting all this? And so then they're going to overbuild, and exactly what Alabaster did. They spent $30 million on a new school.
Well, the Fairhope planning and zoning permitting, those guys are all completely inundated with projects coming out of their ears, and they're doing the best they can to stay up with it, but it's ripe. And I'm not accusing them of anything at all. I think they're trying to do the best they can. But that's what makes corruption ripe. When you got so much going on, nobody can really pay attention to with what is going on. And, I passed a construction site there in Fairhope. I think there was 11 vehicles on the site working. Not one had an identity on the car. Not one. So you don't even know who the construction company is, who the developer is, or anything. And there's no indication on the vehicles either. So get ready, folks. It's going to be a real upward spiral ride here for the next 3 or 4 years in development. Like the mayor of Fairhope said, we are going to embrace development. So you went to Columbia, huh?
Well, Columbia, Alabama, and we're going to
Yeah.
tell this story without using any names.
I think that'd be very wise.
Okay, so Columbia, Alabama was founded in 1820. Columbia was originally located about a mile south of where it is now, near the creek that flows into the Chattahoochee River. It served as the county seat from 1826 to 1833, bordering the state of Georgia and the Chattahoochee River. It was a major port of call for steamboats, and many noted as Old Columbia. The town was incorporated in 1880 and was a center of education, culture, commerce, and trade, located in the southeast corner of Alabama. Columbia was the largest town in the area during the 19th century and remains one of the area's oldest continually operating municipalities. When the railroad came in 1899, Columbia's river trade diminished. However, Columbia sustained itself as a thriving farming community through the mid-20th century. I don't need to go on to tell you that it is no longer a thriving community. That's the police station, and that the fire station's a shed.
And it just goes to show you, it's a major steamboat port of call, and yet the railroad diverted all that attention and freight over to Dothan.
So anyway, that's
like about 800 people.
That's the river. Population. On the right is Georgia. On the left is Alabama. And so anyhow, they came to your attention because of some shenanigans. Somebody contacted your consumer association and said the mayor's doing some things that
the RIP report, correct.
Contacted the RIP report. So then there were some, and just some of the things, and we're not saying that there's anything untoward about it. I'm sure that they got pre-clearance from the bar and from the ethics commission, but the mayor's son is the city prosecutor and the town attorney.
Right. And the individuals that were trying to file complaints were filing them with ethics and finding that they were going nowhere. Then they tried to go to the attorney general as well. That didn't go anywhere, which is exactly what we have found here with any complaints out of Bay Minette, Fairhope, or anywhere else. So you there's no way you can make a legitimate complaint and feel that you're going to get any answer to it at all. And that's from the smallest community like Columbia, where they had documentation. I mean, my God, they had documentation out their ears, but ethics looks at it. They want to pass the buck or kick the can. They do it to the attorney general. Then the attorney general just sits on it. He doesn't even answer your letter. So,
So there was, in Columbia, Alabama, the there's a gentleman who has been who was pulled over, arrested, his vehicle inventoried, and him charged with a numerous misdemeanor infractions. And it would not be of concern to me, except he is dating the police chief's ex-wife. And so
small town.
that's why I went over to the court, and to his credit, the municipal judge recused himself. So they have to find a judge in the area who doesn't know the parties.
He recused on the basis of
I think he knew her dad. Her father is law enforcement, like 35 years with Houston County Sheriff's Department. So I think that might have been, he showed up in his uniform, and the judge immediately recused himself. So there's good folks everywhere, and he hasn't been prosecuted yet, and I would imagine, given the circumstances, they'll drop the charges. But here's the thing: they have the Dothan Eagle over there. They've not written an article about it. They have their own ABC affiliate over there. They haven't done a story about it. Nobody really cares.
nobody picked it up
Because there's Columbia went from the major center of commerce, education, and culture to a town of 740 people. They don't even have a dollar store. They still have a Piggly Wiggly and like one gas station supporting the entire economy.
Well, yeah, but let's look at Columbia and compare it to Fairhope. It's night and day, right? No difference whatsoever in making a complaint. None whatsoever. It's the same thing. You can't file a complaint here on anybody and expect to even have it investigated.
Okay, so let's talk about the fact that almost all of our representatives are 55 or older. And here in Alabama, they do not understand what industries are looking for anymore. We're still building rail into a mega site. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We should be running a bundle of fiber this big around from Maxwell Air Force Base down here to Fort Morgan.
Right.
I mean, if we were serious about economic development. So anyway, Apple reportedly nearing deal to build electric cars along the Alabama-Georgia border. And I said, what about the $41 million that we have invested in the Baldwin County mega site?
And all the lost opportunity we have resulting from the mega site because it's going on what?
Well, because you tied up all your capital
Right.
in this one long bet.
And this is what, 10 years now?
Yes, sir. Just about.
Wow. Mega site, mega bust.
Okay. So remember me telling you about this little device that's at the entrance to the courthouse?
Yeah, a facial recognition.
Well, so what you do is you walk up and you have to get your face inside that outline, and you get a little dot right here on your forehead, and it tells you whether you have a temperature or not, right?
Right.
Well, the other thing that happens is right down here, it starts running through, and I was like, what the hell's that thing doing? So anyway, I got curious and decided to find out who Specco Technologies was. Well, I found the device, Paul.
Did nobody say anything about you taking pictures of the pictures?
Shit, I'm sure my pass has been revoked again. I took a picture in the courthouse.
If they can take your picture, you should be able to take their picture, right?
Right, but here's the thing. So when you integrate their software into this thing, you can track everybody in the building in real time, and you can have somebody like me who's been called a troublemaker. They can flag me. You see this little thing down here? And it'll alert them when I go in the building, send them a text.
As soon as you take that mask off, they're coming to get you.
Well, anyway, have you heard anything about them installing this? Or
no, I hadn't heard anything about this being installed here.
Okay, well, this N8 NRT is the optional integrated database, unless you already have one like Clearview AI, and then it can just work.
That would
with
be
that
interesting.
database.
Is who paid for this? How did it get in? County commission.
My goodness, Paul, if I knew that.
Well, we ought to check that out.
All right. Well, so and I don't want to beat this horse to death. Yeah, do some more Lagniappe for us. This of course is the preliminary plan that had been approved for millions of dollars, 6.2 million, and that's
been
all
gutted.
been nixed and gutted, and
It's going to be a renovation project, and that's it. I mean, it's sad. There's going to be a lot of lost opportunity there too. And one of the things that they did with this project in the beginning of the waterfront was they forecasted ahead how many people were going to be there, how many were going to take advantage. Well, and what they're proposing now and how they gutted it, it's not looking at that. So you're not going to have additional green space or anything. It's going to be the same areas. Lagniappe, any of those of you that just move into the area, be sure and start getting the Lagniappe. You can get it online. You can order it to be delivered, or you can pick it up free. Every week it's everything from music, politics to, consumer services, as well as very good articles. One is boosted shots, vaccinations increase at the Civic Center, clinics, and elsewhere by Gabe Times. And this is what we were talking about earlier, Harry, that you really can see within the next couple of weeks that there's going to be a lot more opportunity for people under 75. Dr. Michael Chang, Chief Medical Officer, USA Health, we've got a long way to go in terms of getting a percentage of our population in our community, our region, across the country to a point to where we can be safe to really start to move forward some semblance of life before the COVID pandemic hit. Transmittability is up, and that further accentuates the pressure around the world to get as many people vaccinated as quickly and possibly. So if you're one of those holding out and not sure about the vaccine, you need to do a little bit of studying, because it would be beneficial to everyone as well as you to have that vaccine. Hidden Agenda by Ashley Trice. If you want a little bit of a grin, something that's not related to politics, when you care enough to send the cringiest, and it is about celebrating your anniversary or something, and some of the cards and things that are available that you can do for that anniversary. Some of them will make you cringe, but some of them are quite funny too. And next article, Dale Lynch, as prepared as we can be, Sanger Theater ready to open its doors for a 2-night concert event. This by Dale Leash. County artists Jamie Johnson and Roundy Hauser will perform 2 nights in a row at Sanger. February 19th, the venue will allow for 600 people in the audience each night, says Mary Lee Gay, the ASMA's global spokesman. I don't know. Here we are still dealing with a pandemic, and you're going to try to jump the gun. And she admits in the article too that they're the only ones having these type of things publicly right now. And
so along those same lines, so there was a statistic that I heard today that based on the infection rates, they think that there are 10 times more people than reported who are infectious at any given time.
I can believe that.
Yeah. And especially if we have this new UK variant that's got an R naught of 3 instead of 2 instead of 1.3.
Right. All that much more reason to have the vaccine. They have, when we go to when we went to Vietnam, I know we had vaccinations that covered many different things, not just one. I mean, many different things that you might contract during that time. In the letter to the editor that they have once a week in Lagniappe, Molly K. Cole, who is a member of the Alabama Students Against Prisons, a coalition of nearly 300 students across 28
So what's she for if she's against prisons?
Well, she writes about prison issues and conditions
well, that
of prisons
sounds better.
and staying in compliance. Just because someone is sent to prison doesn't mean that they're 100% a bad person. It means they made a mistake, they got convicted, and they went to jail. You still have to be humane. And this is related again to the $2.6 billion 3-decade lease agreement for 3 mega prisons.
Which we will have no ownership interest in at the end of the 30 years.
Well, that's the article that is adjoining this in the Lagniappe is the big house. Governor signs lease agreements for privately owned prisons.
And we'll throw up a map showing everybody where the 3 new prisons are proposed.
Right. And this article is by Gabe Times, and he goes a little bit more in depth as to, how hard it is going to be to actually know who these individual investors are, that it's almost impossible to figure out who it is. And that, this is already civil liberties, ACLU, and other people are jumping right away saying, this can't happen, but they're signing the papers and they're going forward. This is a very good article, though, that just goes to show you, and think about the power of that. This is not a legislative action. This is the action by the governor, period. No legislative big support or anything.
Of a bunch of retards I wouldn't trust with a
Let's
potato
see
gun.
what else we got here. Is this one I thought was kind of good. This is Allison Shepard, Drinking for Two. Allison Shepard is Lagniappe's resident hangover specialist. Now, you might be interested in this job, Harry, but in a brief sabbatical.
I've had a many, but I really hadn't been drinking since the damn pandemic started.
Well, she's on
as
a brief
principal.
She's on a brief sabbatical from actually consuming any alcohol due to her current medical condition. That she has volunteered to do this, and that's because her condition is that she's pregnant. And Allison is
That'll straighten your ass up for a while.
well, there's lots of, she talks about the studies that are pro and con for drinking or not drinking during pregnancy. And I think what it comes down to is moderation, or, for the best results, maybe just give up drinking for a while. And I think that's what she did, is the latter. But Allison's partner is Gabe Times, and she mentions in the very end that it's a girl. And I know Gabe has 2 boys, so Grandma's just going to love to hear that little girl's coming along. So congratulate them to both of them.
Yeah, that's great. I
Allison,
didn't know that.
well, she also wrote a accompanying article, Miracle Babies, the Center for Reproductive Medicine brings new life to Mobile. This is a very, very good article.
I know some people who have spent fortunes.
Yeah.
Like
Well, this is
obscene amounts of money.
This is right in Mobile, the Center for Reproductive Medicine. The article gives you tons of statistics and data. 2-page cover story article. I encourage you to go and read that. Very good. And let's see, I had one more, Harry. I think it was. Oh yeah, I had 2 actually. Yeah, 2 real. One that we've been following a long time, and that's the Clotilda Project. Experiencing history. That's what Dale Leash, Savannah School, explains the Clotilda Project, and the project now is being handled. They're putting together the displays and everything from the water tour to how it is going to work into the community, and they're trying to take into consideration the community every way possible to come up with all of this. And so it's a little bit of insight as to how this tourist resort is going to, or tourist attraction is going to develop right in front of us. And it's going to be a history that we need not ever forget. This was the last ship to bring American slaves, and landed right there in Mobile.
Illegally, by the way.
It was illegal by that time. You're right. Anyway, the community leaders and everything have really jumped on that. And it looks like it's going quite well, and Mobile is behind it as well. And then Damn the Torpedoes by Rob Holbert was Tubby lying about January 5th. And this is
Except for the pictures of him in the lobby of the hotel and another guy tweeting that he was there. He said, I'm meeting with a bunch of great Americans. Blah, blah, blah. Senator Tommy Tuberville.
and this was the day before the insurrection, and Tuberville has insisted that, like you said, that he wasn't there. And there's a picture of.
I mean, shit, I've been drunk before, but
there
not when I was meeting with people.
Well, I know, but you have to remember this is a very, very bad way to start off your first week, as a state senator. Again, I'm asking you think about your state. What are we going to get? How is the state going to benefit by the people that we elected if their conduct is so offensive that they can't even get a salt or pepper shaker handed to them? And that's what I look at, is that, why do we keep shooting ourselves in the foot? So until the public is outraged enough to take it over on their own, be it the Baldwin County Sewer or the non-lethal weapons by the sheriff's department or whatever it is, Berry Steam Plant, look at what a threat that is. And we just can't seem to, get anybody to hit the panic button.
Nobody cares.
Right. But anyway, be sure to get your lanyard and stay in touch with us at the Rip Report, because as soon as the trial is over next week, we're going to try to get back more focused on Baldwin County and local politics and leave the national politics to someone else. I will be. Harry won't be.
No, I'll never leave that alone. So just some things that you can go check out and do a little bit deeper dive into on my Twitter handle. 64% of GOP voters say they would join a Trump-led party.
64%. Now think about that, folks. It's splitting the party. You do not want that to happen.
No.
You do not want that to happen.
Amazon plans to install always-on surveillance cameras in all its delivery vehicles.
Oh, well, I can tell you that there's certain parts of large cities you can't travel or walk between one block to another that they can't track you all over town. So that's coming even more and more so.
So, where Myanmar is?
Right.
Okay. So the military blocked Facebook and other messaging service in the name of ensuring stability. Okay. And that's what I said, dictators roll like that.
Right. And also, now the coup was caused by
the military. They deposed
taking over and saying that the election was fraudulent, and there's no evidence whatsoever that the election was fraudulent, and the election was won by the standing party by a very high percentage.
So
sounds familiar.
Pensacola's committee has recommended that they remove the Confederate stars and bars from the Pensacola Police Department's badge. Not the Confederate battle flag, the stars and bars. And I'm assuming that's it right there. Well, maybe that's it.
No, that's got to be that.
That's it. Yeah.
Nice looking badge.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then, of course, the video of AOC telling us all about her Capitol riot experience. Just something for the lighter side. And so did you know that there was a lawsuit that was filed?
On?
Well, $2.7 billion defamation
yes.
lawsuit. Smartmatic or Dominion. Right. Yeah. And suing Giuliani, Fox News, Lou Dobbs. And anyway,
that's not a frivolous lawsuit either.
I mean, man, there's people with deep pockets in this thing.
Correct. They really damaged them. So don't be surprised if you don't see an out of court settlement for an astronomical amount of money.
So did you know that the former president, Donald Trump, is a member of the Screen Actors Guild Awards? Screen Actors Guild. I'm sorry.
He was.
He was until February 4th when he resigned and sent them a letter and basically said, I don't want to be a part of your shitty group anyway.
Right. And you heard the 2-word response?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So the biggie medical marijuana bill passes in the Senate. SB 46 called the
good.
Compassion Act.
Looks good for Alabama.
It's on the Senate floor.
I think it'll pass.
Good news.
I think it'll pass. And I think with it will come a lot of, as expected, bureaucracy, which will allow later maybe a relaxation or decriminalization of the existing marijuana laws that are incarcerating too many people and costing too much money.
And I hate to quit beating on it, but Clearview AI's facial recognition app called illegal in Canada.
Uh-huh.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it for this edition of the Backstory Podcast. What are you doing this weekend, Mr. Rip?
Not much. I'm trying to get my internet all back straight again. And believe it or not, I'm still working on Hurricane Sally. That's one of the reasons I've been a little bit slow on some of the Freaky Fridays. But everybody enjoy the game this weekend and catch us next week.
Keep your powder dry.
A couple of high-stepping turkeys, and you know what to say about a high-stepper.